Hi everyone, welcome back to elearningbridge. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. So guys, you have asked this question to me n number of times, that how to make my application stand out, how to learn good development skills, how to learn good engineering skills. And if you remember, whomsoever I have featured on my channel, they have focused on few things. First, open source contribution. Second, hackathons. Third, working on some really good projects with new tech stack. But the problem is we have n number of communities around us as well. So people are really confused that which one needs to join, what are the advantages of it, these things. They have lots of confusion about it. So guys, today I have brought someone very amazing. So this guy is from tier 3 college, like where people are really less aware about these things, but still this guy is mind-blowing in these stuff. So in this video he has clarified all the things, all the confused differences between open source communities, majorly like GSoC versus MLH Fellowship. Next, like how this open source contribution helped him to crack good internship opportunities, how he's managing competitive programming and open source contribution, what is his preparation strategy for the placements, and many other things. This video is full of so much information, at least for the freshers. Please do not skip that, because this guy is so motivating. Like in the starting 2 years of career with these many opportunities, that is mind-blowing, amazing. And if you are new to the channel, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon so that you are updated with such amazing videos. And also do like this video so that it reaches to the maximum number of people. So guys, without any further delay, let's start with our questionnaire part. Hi Harsh, welcome to my channel. First of all, thank you very much for joining us. So as a questionnaire part, first can you quickly introduce yourself?
So hi, my name is Harsh and I am a third year student at 𝗕𝗲𝗵𝗆 Institute of Science and Technology, which is in Chennai. Right now, I'm working with the CCS team at Red Hat and I'm a developer outreach at DeepSource. Beside that, I'm also a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador and a technical lead at Developer Student Club. So yeah, this is all about me.
Okay Harsh, so this one is going to be important, like being from a tier 3 college. How did you get to know about these things? Because people used to get very less awareness, at least in the tier 3 colleges, about this open source project and open source contribution. But how did you get to know about these things even in the starting first 2 years of your college life? Please share that journey with our viewers as well.
So my journey with open source basically started in my second year of college. My college is traditionally a tier 3 college with only a few companies coming in. And some of my seniors were a part of the developer student club. And since our college didn't have any sort of a coding culture, they decided to form something that is called as Team Origin. So Team Origin helped people to get started with hackathons, with open source and all that. And during that particular time, Hacktoberfest started. So some of my seniors started writing blogs about Hacktoberfest and how to contribute to open source. And I followed those blogs and I started making some contributions on some of the open source projects. And this is how I got started with open source contribution in a very fun and in an easy manner. After Hacktoberfest, I started uploading some of my own projects to GitHub just to have the basic understanding of how Git works. And in the month of January, the last year, I participated in JIIT Month of Code. It is a month-long open source program. And I contributed to a Python project. And luckily, I also got the top performer badge from the competition. And after this, I started contributing to Girl Script Summer of Code. It is kind of Google Summer of Code, but it is on a much larger scale. It takes a lot of students from all across India and from some other countries as well. So I landed with a decent ranking by the end of the program. And after this, I started contributing as a mentor and as a project administrator for various other open source programs. This is how I got started with open source contributions.
Okay, Harsh. So again, it's an important question. Like, what is the major difference between GSoC and MLH? Because these are two very popular communities in the open source contribution, but people do not know mostly about the selection procedure, whether they will take interviews or not, what is the difficulty level, or which one is more difficult, or you can say worth doing. So it would be great if you can tell our viewers about the exact selection procedure in GSoC and MLH so that they are really clear about it.
So Major League Hacking is basically a community based in United States, and it has taken the mantle of a student hackathon league, and it basically organizes a lot of workshops, hackathons, and events and all. So after this COVID-19 pandemic, they decided to bring up a fellowship program. And this fellowship has been designed like an internship alternative for students. So when I came to know about MLH, I didn't had any sort of an internship. So I applied for it, like for the very first batch. But since it was already filled, I was simply rejected out of the fellowship. But again, I didn't lose hope. I got another internship at QXF2 as a software engineering intern. And the applications opened yet again in the month of August. So I decided to apply for it once again. I got some sort of an incentive with a fast track code. And luckily, I got the interviews. MLH has got two interviews. One is a behavioral interview, and another is a technical interview. And after that, I got selected into the first ever Explorer batch. So MLH has got three different batches for its fellows. One is Explorer, the other is open source, and the final one is Externship. Let me tell you about the differences in all of them. Explorer fellowships are all about hackathons and all about learning. Maybe you have learned some programming language. Maybe you have experimented a bit with React or Angular or some other technology stack. And now you simply want to increase your proficiency with other technology stack, maybe Flutter or maybe React Native. So Explorer Fellowship is the right one for you. It will allow you to work with the other team members. It will allow you to learn some new soft skills like collaboration, teamwork, and communication. And you can simply get started with working on some cool projects. So during my Explorer Fellowship, I developed some really cool projects. One was a Flutter application to help blind people. The other one was a CLI tool to basically help the front-end developers optimize their search engine optimization score, and some other projects as well. Open source fellowship, on the other hand, is all about contributing to open source and getting involved with open source communities. So if you are a fan of JavaScript or TypeScript, then there are a couple of projects like React Native or Doxorus or React.js for you. If you are comfortable with Python, then you have got BentoML, you have got Flask and some other projects. And you can also contribute to Julia if you're like interested in a new language and all of that. And finally, we have got externships. In externships, you will be paired with some banking corporations, some startups, and even with the US Department of Defense. So it will actually give you a real experience of internships on how to work on some real world projects. And I don't have to mention, it is very, very hard to crack externships. So if you are interested in project development, go with Explorer. If you already have some cool projects, go with open source. And if you're pretty comfortable with both of them, then externship is the right choice for you. GSoC, on the other hand, is more of open source and proposal based. So if you're like trying to participate in GSoC, I have not participated till now. I will be planning for this year. So if you're trying for GSoC, then the best way for you is to getting involved with some open source communities like Mozilla or Circuitverse or some other popular communities like Zulip and all, and you can start contributing to them. These contributions can be very simple, like a simple typo fix, or it can be quite complex, like creating a new feature right from the scratch. And once you have a fair understanding of the code base, you can start creating a proposal, like how can you add a new feature or how can you improve the existing project or create something new right from the scratch. So if I have to compare MLH Fellowship and GSoC, then I guess Fellowship is more friendly towards beginners. It will help you to get in touch with a mentor, with some industrial people. Like in my time, we got to talk with people from AWS, from GitHub, from Unity Game Engine. In GSoC, you will be more focused towards building a particular project feature or building a particular product around your 3 months of contribution. So try to research about them and try to come up with your own ideas around it. And in both of them, you will have a lot of chances to learn and a lot of opportunity to grow with that community.
So, Harsh, you are also doing the competitive programming. Along with that, you are doing the open source contributions and these things. So, sometimes it becomes really, really tough for someone to manage these things together. How are you doing it? Like, good at competitive, good at open source, how you are managing it, and in competitive programming challenges, how you basically approach to solve a question or to solve a particular coding challenge.
So talking about competitive coding, then I have traditionally learned about coding from my school time. So I learned about Java, C++, and even Python before I started with the college. But in the college, we were like given a real impetus upon doing some problems on HackerRank and HackerEarth. And I have really stuck to these platforms itself for all sort of competitive coding challenges. So this has actually helped me to be better at problem solving, because both competitive coding and the preparation for data structures and algorithm help you to be better at problem solving, nothing else. With competitive coding, you will have a really good insight on how to solve a problem, how to find the edge cases, and how to approach a particular problem. And that skills can be even gained even if you are not doing competitive coding. So that is completely optional. Coming to the open source part, it actually tells you a lot about how to contribute in projects. So let's say you are an intern at a particular company, and let's say they have a really large code base. So you have been assigned a particular bug or a particular feature to create. So how are you going to do that? So open source makes you better at finding particular bugs, reporting them, fixing them up, while ensuring that nothing breaks in the whole process. So you can make issues, you can make pull requests, and it will consist of an entire workflow. And it will simply ensure that the whole team is collaborating in a very real-time manner and no clashes are happening. Coming to my part on how do I manage both of them. So every day I try to solve some problems on HackerRank or LeetCode, because even my interviews will be coming like in almost few months with some companies that I'm expecting. So all of this makes me a bit better at data structures and algorithm and problem solving, because when you go to an interview and you solve these questions, it is not only about solving those particular questions, it is about how we think about them, how we handle the cases, and how we come up with an optimal solution. So try to come up with these, try to come up with a basic problem solving approach. And you don't have to go to some platforms like CodeChef or Codeforces and get some rating to be really good at this part. Coming to how to manage both, then the real key is time management. So avoid procrastination, try to be better at time management, try to prioritize stuff. And if possible, try to break down your entire coding period into two parts, like focus some time on problem solving on some platforms like HackerRank or LeetCode, or even CodeChef or Codeforces, and dedicate some time in really creating your personal projects or trying to fix some bug or create some new feature on an open source project, because both of them have their own advantages, and it is upon you on which advantage you want to specifically pick on.
So let's move on to the next question, Harsh. Even in your second year, you were like able to crack good internships, and that was all because of majorly because of the open source contribution. So please tell our viewers about this thing as well, like how this open source contribution and these projects helped you to crack these good internships, even in your second year, college second year itself.
So one of my major internship was with Scholarify, and how we got the internship is really a funny story. So basically, we were preparing for Smart India Hackathon, and we created a project to detect fake news. And our team had like 6 members. So what we decided was 3 members will go to Gujarat for pitching into another hackathon, and 3 members will stay at college for pitching to the Smart India Hackathon. And luckily, we won at both the places. So at Gujarat, we won the second prize, and at the college, we won the basically we finalized it totally. So in Gujarat, we luckily met one of the CEOs of a company. It was Qualify, and our team members basically went up to him and asked that whether can we get an internship in his company, because all of us were looking for internship. I was in my second year, and my seniors were in their third year, and we were looking for some cool summer internship so that we can get some experience. And this is how we got our first major internship. The other internship that I basically got was in QXF2. I was a software engineering intern. And luckily, I was not asked any of the standard data structures or algorithm question out of that. So they told me to come up with an open source project that I had created. I will be asked to come on an interview. I will have to explain the whole project right from the scratch, how I built it, how I managed the issues and the bugs, and how I finally fixed them. So like the whole project went for like some 2 rounds of interviews, and it was a really good experience because I was able to tell on how I created the project, how I contributed to it, and if it is a group project, how I specifically contributed to that particular feature. So even in Major League Hacking fellowship interviews, this part was specially emphasized, because often we try to create projects along with some other teammates, with our friends or some other colleagues, but we really have to emphasize on what part we have created. So if you're like contributing to open source, make sure to follow some standard guidelines, like try to use Git instead of GitHub user interface, try to have some proper commit messages, try to make use of issues and pull requests, because that is going to show that you're really following the standard, and that is going to help you a lot in your interviews and in your projects as well.
Okay, so what are some really good programs like running by different companies for students to get mentored by elite engineers? And how can someone stay updated about these programs and apply for the same? Because you are enrolled in Microsoft Ambassador program, and along with that, there will be different such kind of programs running by different companies. So please tell our viewers about that, these kind of programs, like based on your experience and whatever you know about that.
So I came to know about Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. It was previously known as Microsoft Student Partner back in my second year. And I filled the application for it by sitting in a library. So I never expected that I will be accepted into this, but I got the acceptance mail back in January last year. And this is how I got involved with the Microsoft Student Partner community. So if you take a look at the tech community, it is always about getting people involved with some of the core products that the particular company is offering. So Microsoft has got some awesome products like Azure. It has got quantum computing, Q#, and all of that. And many of the students specifically pick on these technologies and start developing a portfolio around the same. So back in my time, I started learning about Azure. I started learning about Q#. I'm even a part of another community that is associated with Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador known as 𝗕𝗲𝗏, and that specifically focuses on quantum computing. So all of this help you get started with a lot of new technologies that you might not have even heard about in your college time. So in our college time, we specifically focus upon competitive coding mostly, or some particular languages. But in these communities, you will know that there is something outside of all this. There is something that you have to know once you get a very good job. So this is the main advantage of these communities. Apart from that, you can also get mentored by some of the senior developers at these particular companies. So if you're a part of Microsoft Student Partner or the DSC or the AWS Ambassador, then you will get a chance to talk with some of the people who are involved with these products, and you can get some really good insights on how you can develop on the same. Another community that I'm a part of is the Developer Student Club. It is by Google developers, and it specifically focuses upon using Google products to basically help out local community needs. So I'm a technical lead at my college's Developer Student Club, and we basically help students get started with a lot of technologies. Like I help students get started with Google Cloud. Some of my co-members help with Android and some other particular stuff. So if you're a student, if you're like in your first or second year, try to get yourself involved in these communities. If you're not comfortable with Google or Microsoft, then there are plenty of other communities. Like there is Girl Script, there is Script Foundation, there is AWS. So AWS also has got a large community in India right now. And then there are some smaller communities that focuses upon local technology needs. So be a part of community, try to contribute to that, and you will get a lot of experience, not just from the technology side, but also from how you can contribute to a good social cause.
So you have worked on some good projects, right? Like along with those open source projects, I'm pretty sure you might have created some self-made projects on different things, different ideas. So I would ask you to share those ideas with our viewers as well, so that they can think in that direction and try to create something amazing out of it.
So I will try to pick this not from my point of view, but also from some other point of view. So when we were working with MLH, with our Explorer Fellowship, we always emphasize upon two things. The first one was a developer focus. So developer focus can be anything. It can be artificial intelligence, it can be machine learning, it can be data engineering, it can be blockchain, it can be mobile application development. So you can focus upon a particular developer related point of view. So let's say you want to build a mobile application, go with that. You want to build a web application, go with that. But the another point of view is engineering focus, and it is completely universal. So no matter if you're working with a mobile application development, if you're working with web development, testing is something that you have to do everywhere. Documentation is something that you have to do everywhere. Clean code is something that you have to do everywhere. So try to pick on an engineering focus and a developer focus. So let's say you have taken a course on machine learning, possibly on Coursera or Udemy. You have some good skills in machine learning right now. So pick on machine learning, try to create an application out of it, and pick on an engineering focus and try to merge both of them together. So once you have both a developer focus and an engineering focus, you can start creating some cool application. So let's say I want to create a YouTube clone. I have got React.js as my skill set, and on the backend, I can possibly use Firebase or MongoDB. So this is your developer focus right now, but you can possibly create some unit cases with Jest. So just for testing part, you can use linting for ensuring that your code is clean, and you can ensure to have a good documentation so that no one else feels stuck if they are trying to use your project. So think on that perspective and try to create projects. It can be as simple as a static site or even a simple calculator program, as long as it is following the standard conventions. And once you're comfortable with the basic, try to go a step ahead, try to do some user research, some product research about what your project can be. Possibly you can start cloning some popular application, like try to clone YouTube or Reddit or even Spotify, because that will help you to gain a real experience on how you can create some complex projects. And once you're pretty much done with that, try to create a real world problem that you can possibly solve. If you need some inspiration, go to DevPost or DevFolio, try to see on what people are creating in hackathons. Take on that idea, add or delete some features, and try to start working on them. And this is how you can have a good portfolio with some real world projects.
We will wrap up this session with one last and final question. So, Harsh, like you are in your third years and basically having some great achievements. So, what is your plan for the next 2 years? What is your preparation strategies? Because companies will be visiting your college for the placement soon. So, like in next couple of years, what is your plan of preparation and strategy to crack the good placement?
So my plan and strategy is very simple. It is very layman. It is something that everyone else will do. And it is doing some data structures and algorithms and a bit of a competitive coding. Because I have seen a lot of times that open source actually helps you build a portfolio and an experience, but sometimes it might not be that useful in the interview side. So there might be cases where the interview might not even know what open source is, what MLH is, what GSoC is. So you need to tackle that specifically, because you can speak on that. But let's say if they start picking on some things, then you cannot possibly answer because that goes out of your experience. So never forget your basics. Always build up your basics in data structures, algorithm, some other core computer science concepts like networking, operating system, computer graphics, and all. And try to start finding out companies, get some referrals, and sit for interviews, because that would give you a lot of experience. My plan would be to do a lot of data structures and algorithm in the next 1 year. I have got a lot of guidance from Shashank sir and the other YouTubers on that. And I will also be doing some open source, just because I want to build up an experience and I want to help others also get started with the same, because I have a couple of projects that you can possibly take a look at. And with all this, I will possibly transition myself from a college undergraduate into the corporate world.
All right, so that's nice. Like knowing your preparation strategy, that how you are targeting. Sometimes interviewer may not know like what is GSoC, what is MLH, and what kind of open source you are doing. So for these kind of interviews, or you can say your campus placement interviews, you have to be good with your core CS fundamentals DSS, because that is going to help you crack the interview overall, I can say. So thank you very much, Harsh, for joining us and sharing those valuable advices and some key differences. I hope that will help our freshers to explore these things, GSoC, MLH, different communities. And guys, if you want to check out Harsh work on different projects, I'll put his GitHub repository link in the description. You can even connect with him over the LinkedIn or Instagram, and he'll definitely help you guys with the any kind of contribution and any kind of advice you want to take from him. So thank you very much, Harsh, for joining. It was a really informative like session. Even I got to know about so many differences. I didn't know about these things, what is happening in the like deep inside the open source contribution. So that's really wonderful. Thanks for joining.
The pleasure is all mine.
So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If yes, then don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe button and notification icon, and share this video as much as you can with your freshers, because they need such kind of guidance about the open source contribution and open source projects. So do share it. I will see you in next Saturday with amazing interview experience. Till then, just stay safe, stay home, take care of yourself and your family too. Bye bye.